Welcome back, students. In this session, we'll be continuing with the last chapter of our syllabus that we have started already. That is chapter 15, India Towards Independence. In the last class, we have come across the various portions of this chapter, which included the Simon Commission, and we have also known why the Simon Commission was rejected by the Indians. And then we have also known about the Nehru report. After that, we have come across the Lahore session, where like the Quit India resolution, not the Quit India resolution, in the Lahore session, the resolution of complete independence or Purna Swaraj was being passed, and 26 January 1930 was considered to be the Independence Day, which later was changed, and then the tricolor, the national flag, also was introduced, and the Congress also resolved to launch the civil disobedience movement. Gandhiji decided to launch the civil disobedience movement. The flag was hoisted, and all these activities, or all these special activities, took place in this Lahore session. Today we'll be dealing with the rest of the portions, where civil disobedience movement, since this portion is not there mentioned in your syllabus, so we'll just know about what exactly the civil disobedience movement is to maintain the chronology, and after that we'll focus on the Quit India movement. While for your own knowledge and own understanding, you can obviously go through these portions which have not been included, or which we will not be emphasizing on. But in order to maintain the chronology, we need to know what exactly is civil disobedience movement. So civil disobedience. So we all know that non-cooperation movement have been withdrawn by Gandhi. So after this, after the Chauri Chaura incident, so after that, Gandhiji realized that after this Lahore session, Gandhiji realized that there is a dire need of another movement. After understanding the success of the non-cooperation movement, he also wanted to start, or wanted to initiate another movement, which would be an all India movement, which would include the people of the whole of India in civil disobedience movement. So civil disobedience movement will be similar to non-cooperation movement, but the difference will be that all the laws which have been made by the British government will not be followed by the Indians. Like any law, like for instance, this movement was started by Dandi March. This movement was started with the Dandi March. Now, what exactly is Dandi March? Dandi March was uh, uh, like Gandhiji started this Dandi March. Now, salt tax was implemented on the Indians. So salt tax basically was uh, uh, to produce, like before the initiation of salt tax, anybody could produce salt from the sea water without paying any taxes. But this particular salt is a basic necessity of our in our food items, and it also contributes minimalistic in our income. Like it is a very minimal portion that is goes into the expenditure on salt, and also it is one of the important ingredient. So earlier there was no salt tax which was implemented on Indians, but then the Britishers, in order to increase their income from the Indians, they started salt tax. Now salt tax means people will have to pay tax for producing salt from the sea water. So this particular Indians will have to pay tax to the Britishers to produce salt from the seawater in India itself. So this particular tax angered the people of India, of course, and then Gandhiji was the first. Gandhiji, he wanted to break the salt tax, and also this particular event would lead to the initiation of the civil disobedience movement. Now, salt law was on 12th March 1930, with a group of 78 followers. Gandhiji marched to Gandhiji marched to a coastal village of Dandi, which was around 385 kilometers from Sabarmati Ashram. You all know what Sabarmati Ashram is, where it is located. So he marched with his followers to the coastal village of Dandi, and he produced salt, and he broke the salt law, and he produced salt, and this was an incident to mark the initiation of the civil disobedience movement. Now this famous event was known as Dandi March, which created turmoil in the in the rank and file of the British government. As people joined the movement, people supported this movement, and Gandhiji appealed to the nation to not only break the salt law but also any laws which have been made by the government. So it was a total non-cooperation with the government. Like now, nobody will cooperate with whatever the government is saying. The Gandhiji appealed to the people that nobody should cooperate with whatever laws have been passed or is going to be passed by the British government. So he declared, at present, Indian self-respect is symbolized as it were in a handful of salt in the Satyagrahi's hand. Let the fist be broken, but let there be no surrender of salt. So everybody will be there in India, and we will be using all the natural resources and everything in India, but we will not cooperate in any form with the Britishers. So thousands of people followed this and also supported this, and this created discomfort among the government, and the movement spread. So this movement spread along with the spread of this again the Swadeshi and boycott movements, and they boycotted the schools and colleges, and rural people also initiated and they took part in the movement. Then Gandhiji was arrested. Gandhiji was arrested before he could proceed to Darshana Salt Works in Gujarat, and this arrest was again resented, or this arrest was being protested by the people. He was confined in the Yerwada jail in Pune. However, Abbas Tyabji and Sarojini Naidu continued leading the movement. And in the west frontier provinces, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan supported the movement by establishing an organization known as the Khudai Khidmat. So another organization was being formed known as Khudai Khidmat, and he violated the law by withholding the payments of taxes. So all these associations were formed, and the movement was initiated by this Dandi March by Gandhi. In order to fuel up the movement, few other organizations also put on their efforts, and Gandhiji's arrest was deeply resented, and Gandhi-Irwin Pact was signed in 1931, as per which Gandhiji agreed to suspend the civil disobedience movement and attend the second roundtable conference. Now, conference level talks, like diplomatic talks, was going on between the Congress and the Britishers about transferring the power to Indians, like how will it be transferred, and how much of independence will be given to the Indians. So about all of this, so he was invited to the second roundtable conference. First roundtable conference failed. Now another roundtable conference was being initiated, which also failed. So now so again, after the second roundtable conference failed, the civil disobedience movement was again resumed, and the India Act of 1935 was initiated, and elections were held between now both the Congress and the Muslim League contested the election. So these are the few events which happened. You need to keep in your mind what all events, but this part is not there, so you can just go through for your own knowledge. Now after that, the Cripps mission, like the other Simon Commission and the Nehru Report, the Cripps mission was also sent after the Second World War broke out in 3rd September 1939. And so Britishers were in a very desperate situation and declared, like, desperate situation that what they will do, what will the future be, like how will the power be transferred, and how much possession of autonomy will they have in India. So, in order to secure cooperation with the Indians, they sent the Cripps mission. So, the Cripps missions, the main proposal of this commission were dominion status for Indians afterwards. Remember, this again did not give full independence to the Indians. This was dominion status for dominion status means the status of the Indians, the power in or the authority in the administrative services, the authority in the administration will increase, but total independence have not been guaranteed yet. So Indian princely states would also have the right to join and remain outside the dominion status. So dominion status will be provided, but again at the head of the dominion of India there would be Britishers who will take care if there is any need. But yes, more power will be given. So this was again rejected by Gandhiji and the people of India, and no limit. So basically why it was rejected? It was rejected because no limit for to what extent the dominion status will be given, like how much power will we have in literal sense have not been said by this particular commission. So this was deeply rejected, and Muslim League also rejected the proposals. So now the Quit India movement. So Quit India resolution was being passed after the meeting of Congress Working Committee at Wardha that happened in 14 July 1942. At the Wardha session, this particular Quit India resolution was passed. So it was endorsed on 8th August 1942 by All India Congress Committee in Mumbai, where Gandhiji gave the slogan "Do or die." Now we want complete independence. We don't want to listen to anything. There is no other way that we are going to surrender or we are going to listen to you. You have to give us full independence. Like now it's a do or die situation. Now nothing can help. You have to give us full independence. So all the prominent members of the Congress now. This particular slogan inspired the Indians, but this particular organization was declared to be illegal, and the members were arrested. So the news of Gandhiji's arrest spread like a wildfire in the country, and this was deeply resented by the people of India, and hartal strikes throughout the country was going on, and so this was also dealt with very strong hands, many people were put behind the bars and hundreds were killed and severely tortured. So many people died, and the sufferings reached its climax where 30 lakh people died. 30 lakh people died in Bengal out of starvation from the infected famine. So the British government did nothing for them. So on the one hand, they are wanting to provide us with dominion status. On the other hand, they are, after the passing of this Quit India resolution, Congress was declared to be illegal, and Gandhiji was arrested. And after this arrest, people got very angry and they dissented. And then people throughout the country started strikes, hartals and everything. They were suppressed, they were repressed like anything. They were killed, they were tortured. And the people of Bengal who were severely affected by famine was not being helped. Nothing was provided to them. Around 30 lakh people died. So this was again hugely resented. So next one would be formation of INA and forward bloc. This is also a very important portion. So we all know that Subhash Chandra Bose, a great leader and patriot. So he was also one of the members of the Congress, Indian National Congress. So, but there was differences in the ideology of Subhash Chandra Bose and Gandhiji. So, was differences in ideologies, differences in thought process, created wide gap between them. And he resigned from Congress presidentship in 1939 CE. So, after resigning from Congress presidentship, he formed an organization known as the Forward Bloc, a left-wing political party, but he and his party were disqualified later on. So during the Second World War, he was put under house arrest, but somehow he managed to escape. House arrest means he will be there in his country, in his home. He cannot go outside the country, and but somehow he managed to escape to Germany and later to Japan. So at that point of time in Second World War, Germany and Japan were doing good initially. Later on, they were defeated. but initially they were doing good. So he wanted to seek the help of Germany and Japan. So he moved to Germany first, then went to Japan, and he sought the help of the army. And Subhash Chandra Bose sat down to reorganize the Indian National Army and train them. So he there already in INA was being formed, and then he wanted to reorganize the army and also train them. The battle cry of the Indian National Army was Delhi Chalo, or march towards Delhi. So the greeting was Jai Hind. So he went to Tokyo to take Japanese help, and in January 1944 the soldiers of National Army chanted slogans march to Delhi, which again this became a battle cry or the war cry. And like this also like make the youth, the Indian youth, very they supported this particular INA, and they aroused the nationalism, the feeling of nationalism, nationalist sentiments among the people. And the national INA, the Indian National Army, invaded northeastern parts of India. With the Japanese help, the Indian National Army reached till Imphal and hoisted the tricolor flag. So with the defeat of Japan in Second World War, again the help which INA was getting was stopped, and INA could not advance any further. So the victories of the Indian National Army was, however, short-lived, though it was very important in our history of Indian freedom struggle, and it was made with lots of efforts. And there was there were two wings. There was a wing for the women and also the male soldiers. And it is believed that Netaji died in a. It is believed that he died in a plane crash, though lots of controversies have been there about his death. So, but the contribution of INA in our Indian freedom struggle cannot be cannot be forgotten, or by any way cannot be it holds an it cannot be ignored. It holds a very important place in the Indian national freedom struggle, and also in the in getting in finally in acquiring independence. So that will be all about today's class. Next class we will be starting about the cabinet mission plan, the Mountbatten plan, and the Indian Independence Act of 1947. So this three will be covered in the next class. Go through these portions which we have studied today. The rest will be taught in the next class. That will be all. Thank you.